Hello everyone, this episode will be about Microsoft Patch Tuesday for April 2022 and new improvements in my Vulristics project. I decided to add more comment sources, because it is not just Tenable, Qualys, Rapid7 and ZDI make Microsoft Patch Tuesday reviews, but also other security companies and bloggers. You can see them in my automated security news Telegram channel, a billion of news, after every second Tuesday of the month. So now you can add any links with CVE comments to Vulristics. For April Patch Tuesday, I will add these sources: Kaspersky, Krebs on Security, Computer Weekly, The Hacker News, Threat Post. Let's see if they highlight different sets of vulnerabilities. I have also added links to Qualys and ZDI blog posts. Qualys didn't fix their blog search. Apparently no one uses it. ZDI don't have a blog search, and DuckDuckGo stopped indexing them properly. In addition, Tenable closed access to their Tenable.com. This is rather ironic, considering that Russian Tenable Security Day took place on February 10th, 2022, just 2 months ago. I participated in it. It was a formal event with Tenable's EMEA CTO and regional manager, and now we are not talking about any support, updates and licenses for Russian companies and individuals, but even about access to the Tenable website. This is how the situation can change rapidly if you trust Western vendors. Try not to do this. But in any case, you can still use the Tenable blog as a source of comments about Patch Tuesday vulnerabilities. I have added SOX proxy support to Vulristics. I run the comment like this: Vulristics spy, report type MS Patch Tuesday extended, MSPT year 2022, MSPT month April, MSPT comments links path comments links txt, rewrite flag true. Just like last month, I am taking into account not only the vulnerabilities published on April 11th, 117 CVEs, but also all vulnerabilities since last Patch Tuesday, 40 CVEs. There are a total of 157 CVEs in the report. 5 critical, 51 high, 91 medium, 10 low. Let's start with the critical ones. Elevation of privilege in Windows Common Log File System Driver, CVE 2022 24 521. Exploitation in the wild is mentioned in Attacker KB and Microsoft. Public exploit is mentioned by Microsoft in CVSS Temporal Score, functional exploit. Since this vulnerability only allows a privilege escalation, it is likely paired with a separate code execution bug. This vulnerability was reported by the US National Security Agency. Remote code execution in remote procedure call runtime, CVE 2022 26 809. An unauthenticated remote attacker could exploit this vulnerability by sending, quote, a specially crafted RPC call to an RPC host, end of quote. This vulnerability could allow a remote attacker to execute code at high privileges on an affected system. Since no user interaction is required, these factors combine to make this wormable, at least between machines where RPC can be reached. A proof of concept of this vulnerability is available on GitHub. Other remote code execution in RPC, CVE 2022 24 492, CVE 2022 24 528 were also classified as critical, but this is due to misattribution of exploits. The only exploitable is CVE 2022 26 809. Remote code execution in Microsoft Edge, CVE 2022 1096. In Vulristics report, it was detected as unknown vulnerability type because it is impossible to detect vulnerability type by description. Quote, this CVE was assigned by Chrome. Microsoft Edge, Chromium-based, ingests Chromium, which addresses this vulnerability. Please see Google Chrome releases for more information. Google is aware that an exploit for CVE 2022-1096 exists in the wild. End of quote. In fact, it is a well-known zero-day remote code execution in Chrome that affected all other Chromium-based browsers. Exploitation in the wild is mentioned in Attacker KB. The Vulristics report states that public exploit is found at vulners. However, it is just a, quote, PowerShell script that dumps Chrome and Edge version to a text file in order to determine if you need to update due to CVE 2022-1096, end of quote. Yes, it is difficult to determine what exactly was uploaded on GitHub. Now let's see the most interesting vulnerabilities with the high level. Elevation of privilege in Windows User Profile Service, CVE 2022-26-904. This vulnerability is supposed to have been fixed in the August 2021 update, when it was tracked as CVE 2021-34-484. However, the researcher who discovered it later discovered a bypass, and then when that was fixed again in January, he went and bypassed it a second time. Not only is proof of concept out there for it, there is a Metasploit model as well. This privilege escalation vulnerability allows an attacker to gain code execution at system level on affected systems. The vulnerability relies on winning a race condition, which can be tricky to reliably achieve. Information disclosure in Windows kernel, CVE 2022-24-483. Little is known about this vulnerability, and no one has highlighted this vulnerability, but there is a proof of concept for it on GitHub. Remote code execution in Windows DNS Server, CVE 2022-26-812, CVE 2022-26-814. Also, no one highlighted this vulnerability. Public exploit is mentioned by Microsoft in CVSS temporal score, proof of concept exploit. There were 18 DNS server bugs receiving patches this month. For the remaining vulnerabilities, there is neither a sign of exploitation in the wild nor a sign of a public exploit. Let's see the most interesting ones. Remote code execution in Windows SMB, CVE 2022-24-500. This vulnerability requires that a user with affected version of Windows access a malicious server. An attacker would have to host a specially crafted server share or website. Exploitability assessment, exploitation less likely. Remote code execution in Windows kernel, CVE 2022-24-541, is actually a similar SMB vulnerability as well. Remote code execution in Windows network file system, CVE 2022-24-491, CVE 2022-24-497. An attacker could send a specially crafted NFS protocol network message to a vulnerable Windows machine, which could enable remote code execution. Note, this vulnerability is only exploitable for systems that have the NFS role enabled. Exploitability assessment, exploitation more likely. As you can see, additional sources of comments actually repeat everything that ZDI, Qualys, Rapid7 and Tenable highlight, but sometimes they add interesting details about vulnerabilities. As usual, the link to the full report is available in the blog post. And that's it for today. Please subscribe and leave your comments. Bye.